Hello, how are you? My name's Cal and I'm so glad that I can join you this morning. What wild times we are living in. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're sitting in church. Welcome to you. That is very exciting. There's also a good chance, if you're watching this, that you're not sitting in church. Like me right now, I'm not sitting in church. I'm actually standing in my bedroom. No matter where you are today, I have a question for you. Here's my question. Who is your neighbour? Maybe I should say, who are your neighbours? Who is your neighbour? What a good question. Is it Mr. Smith? Is it Mrs. Crosby? Is it a crazy old lady or an eccentric old man? Do you live next to millionaires? Ooh. Do you live next to a family that's got so many kids they need a minibus to carry them around? Or maybe the family next door you think own a zoo. They've got 3 cats, 4 dogs, 7 bunnies, 3 llamas, maybe even a zebra. Do you live next to one of those types of families? Who is your neighbour? There's a man in the Bible who asked Jesus this exact question. Who is my neighbour? You see, Jesus told this man, you need to love your neighbour. So he thought, well, who is my neighbour? I'm going to find a more interesting background than this, and I want to tell you a story that Jesus told the man straight after. Let's see if I can find a good spot.
Now this parable was told a long time ago by Jesus to his disciples. And it's about a man. He lived in one city and he wanted to travel to the other. I wonder how long it took him to travel. Doesn't look like he's with anyone. And as he was walking down the road, the robbers saw him. They saw that he had something that they wanted, so they attacked him. And then they ran off. The poor traveller was left lying on the side of the road, beaten up and bruised. They had stolen his money and his things. He was not in a good shape. Poor traveller. Poor traveller. It just so happened that along the road came a priest. And the priest came walking along and he stopped and he saw the man. He was lying there. He was bruised. He was bleeding. He was also from the same town as the priest. The priest, he didn't want anything to do with him. He looked the other way and he walked right around the man and on his way. Poor old traveller. He was still sitting there, beaten, bruised, lying in the gutter on the side of the road, when along came a Levite. Now, a Levite is kind of like a priest, kind of like a church pastor, someone who would help out. Would he help the traveller? Let's find out. He came along the road. He saw the poor old traveller lying there in the road. He walked on by. He didn't want to have anything to do with that man. The poor old traveller, beaten and bruised. And then, you know what? It just so happened that a third man came walking along. Now this man, he had a donkey. But he was also a Samaritan. He was from the city over here. And the Samaritans, you see, they didn't like the Jews who lived in this city over here. They were not friends at all. So this poor traveller, he was a Jew, and this man was a Samaritan. So he was not expected to help at all. Let's see what happens. He walked on by with his donkey. And then something caught his eye. He saw there lying in the road a dirty, bruised, bleeding, beat-up man. Would he help? He would. He came over. Are you all right? No, the traveller could barely speak. No. You know what the Samaritan did? He got some bandages out. He had them carried on his donkey. He got some bandages. He bandaged up the man. He helped him out, and he put him on his donkey. He laid him on his donkey, and then he walked his donkey, and he cared for the man. He gave him some food and some water, and he took him to an inn. And he said, I will pay for this man to stay here as long as he gets better. As long as it takes, I will pay. And when I return, if he needs to be there longer, I will pay more. And that's exactly what he did. Well, the traveller was very grateful, and he stayed in the inn, and he was very surprised that it was the Samaritan who helped him out. Now, I wonder, what was it like for the traveller? How did he feel when he was beaten up? I wonder, who was the neighbour to the traveller? Who was his neighbour? Was it the priest? Was it the Levite? Was it the Samaritan and his donkey? Was it the robbers? Who was the neighbour to the priest? What about the Levite? Who was his neighbour? Who was the Samaritan's neighbour? I wonder how the Samaritan felt when he helped out his Jewish enemy. I wonder how the traveller felt when he was being helped. I wonder what it felt like to be the priest and to see the man lying there and to keep on walking. What was going through his head, I wonder? What about the Levite? I wonder how he felt. You know, parables make us think of lots of questions. And it's really good to ask questions when you come across something that you're not sure about, and to keep wondering about them.
So there you have it, the story of the Good Samaritan and a load of questions. So, who is your neighbour? Think about that. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.